Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the BlackGirlOption podcast. My name is Kayla Salem, and I'm your host. With each and every episode of the BlackGirlOption podcast, you all will be listening to me learn and discover new lessons on my path to being a consistently profitable trader. So thank you all for tuning in and enjoy the show. Hi, Lawrence. Thank you for coming on the BlackGirlOption podcast. The Panther.
Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you, Kayla, for having me on the Black Girl Option podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. Appreciate it. I know we've been trying to make this happen for a long time. I appreciate the opportunity to be on here. I had to make sure, I had some things to take care of, but I had to make sure I definitely came on.
Absolutely, yeah. I know you're heavy into the clubhouse scene. You go by the Panther. Can you tell me a little bit about how you got started in the Market Movers clubhouse room?
Yeah, so I actually, came together with a lot of the moderators and the pre-market movers. I think we all kind of had similar missions and goals as far as, educating more people about the stock market and investing. I've been teaching honestly since 2018. I've been involved in the stock market really since late 2016. And so ultimately there was like a really big passion of mine, and it was good to be on an app because honestly, being in this game, a lot of times it can become very lonely for real. Not having a lot of people to talk to, a lot of people that look like us, not really in spaces like this. So it was kind of good to come together with other people that look like me and be able to come together and be able to offer value, to thousands and thousands of people who listened in to us throughout these past 10 months. So that's really what I would say, how it came about. We were just all on one mission, and we decided to, form and do this together. So
you said you started getting into the stock market in 2016. So I know you just turned 22. So 2016, that was 5 years ago. So you were like 16, 17 when you got involved in the stock market? Really?
Yep.
So what got you interested in the stock market so early? Because I don't know anybody in high school was in the stock market. How did you get involved in that?
Yeah, so like my senior year of high school, ultimately, I had a task to study like world economics, and what I seen across the board, like from country to country, was like the wealthiest people were people who invested in, the stock market, whether it was the U.S. stock market or Asian stock market, European stock market. The wealthiest people were people that invested, in those different financial markets and invested in companies and invested in assets.
Right.
So that's what got me into like just paying attention and looking, at the stock markets. It's just studying economics first. Like it wasn't even about the money for me. It was just, I wanted to see how the world worked and why the world revolved around money, and studying economics, I understood it. So that's what I would say.
Okay. Yep. Definitely. They say, it's the thing I like about the stock market and in the term, what we're trying to do in terms of me and you is generational wealth and building wealth, is that I think our parents are, in a general sense, I don't mean your parents, my parents exactly, but the generation before us saw wealth as like a secret, like it was kind of something that only a certain amount of people can do and only a certain type of people can do. And I feel like me and you, in our generation especially, we're starting to get into realizing, okay, anybody can do it. If they can do it, I can do it.
Yep, exactly.
So,
yep.
But
and that's it. Yep. Go ahead.
But before we get into all of that, I just want my the people who listen to the podcast to learn a little bit about you. So, where are you from? Where did you grow up? Things like that.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Long Island, New York. I grew up a little bit in Buffalo, New York, and then as well, I've been living here in Atlanta since I was 11 years old. So I pretty much spent, half my life in New York and the other half here in Atlanta, Georgia. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I got two sisters, and I went to Clayton State University, majored in communications and media studies. I then that's where I actually, really started taking my trading and investing to the next level. I've taught over 500 people.
Wow.
I started my company, Black Wall Street Originals, and been teaching people since 2018. Been studying the market since 2016. Started investing in 2017, and honestly, just I've been trading full time for the past 3 years as
Wow.
well too. So, uh, yeah,
That's
yeah.
interesting you say you're from Long Island. I was about to say you don't have the accent, but then you said you lived in Georgia. I grew up in Georgia, so that makes sense. So
Hmm.
how did you get started in
Yeah.
trading? Because investing and trading is two different things. How did you first learn about
Mm.
trading and what got you into it?
Yeah. So I actually like how I got started trading was like I was first an investor. Like I'm always an investor first, long term investor first. I got started in the trading aspect of things after studying and being an investor and started trading the companies that I was invested in. I started paying attention to the charts. I started learning about options. And ultimately, that's like me having that market structure down first made it a lot easier to transition into trading versus just like starting off trading options, which is like what most people are doing
Mm-hmm.
now. And I try to steer them away from just starting off in options, but everyone is so greedy. Everyone wants to make, $1 million
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow, and it's like, it's like steps to this. I think sometimes people discount, like when I tell them, like, yo, I've been doing this 5 years, they be thinking in 5 days they gonna know
Oh
everything that I know.
man.
I'll be like,
The
yo,
stock market will
that's
humble
not
you
possible.
real quick.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's what kind of got me in. I was like, yo, I can use this money from trading to, not work no more. That was my
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing. Like, how can I use the money from trading to not work no more? And then be able to put that back into my portfolio and just continue to build. Like that was really how I looked at things, to be
So
honest with
how would you describe the people that come to you because they want to learn investing, they want to learn the stock market? How would you describe their
you.
mentality at first when they first meet you to when they have been in the game a little bit and they understand more? How would you
Mm.
describe that?
Yeah, I would say honestly with you, I be having to break I be having to break their mindset down for real. Like so when they first come, they be thinking that, oh, it's like it's gonna be easy. But I quickly break that. Like I quickly break that. Like
Uh-huh.
I be breaking it. I break that out of them. Like, yo, this ain't easy. This ain't something you just hop and do. This ain't what you think is just, oh, boom, you gonna hop in and just make easy money. Like I instill consistency in them. Most people that come to me are probably used to things being easy or things just being handed. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, with this, like you gotta be willing to put in the time. Late night, you know what I'm saying, the work, like it's not just no clock
Mm-hmm.
in and boom, you here and you
Mm-hmm.
guaranteed a check at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
week. In the stock market, you gotta go ahead and honestly really grind. Like you gotta grind. And it pays off big time.
Yeah.
This is, a lot of them, they also as well, after me teaching them, like my goal is to always duplicate myself. Like I'm not trying to just give signals and
Right.
stuff like that. You feel me? The people, you know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? I want to duplicate myself over and over. So boom, now they can go teach their family and their friends, and you feel me? And they have something that they can use like to be able to make money, wherever they're at in the world. So that's the way I kind of look at it. And
Yeah.
I just instill that in them. And I think by the time that they're done taking my class, taking my program, that they really have a good mindset as to what trading actually is and discipline. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, I love the comparison that people say with, it takes a doctor, 8 to 10 years to become a doctor before they can actually start practicing. It's the same thing with like
Hmm.
learning to trade. Investing is different, but learning to trade, I've never met someone who learned how to trade in
Hmm.
like a month. I have not met
Yeah.
any of them. It took years, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it
Yep.
took years for me.
It took years for it to
Hmm.
happen. Like it's not gonna happen
Anybody
in 1 month.
anybody the best of the traders in the world, it took them years. So I try to tell people the same thing you tell them, like it's not gonna come fast. If you want that, play the lottery.
Hmm. Yep. Yeah.
So, there's so many different strategies in terms of trading. You have day trading, swing trading, scalping, and then even within that, technical analysis, fundamental analysis trading. How did you find your strategy? Because that's for something when I first started trading, that was very, very hard for me to find a strategy that
hmm
that fit for me. So how did you find yours?
Yeah, I would honestly say through like trial and
Yeah.
error. That's honestly really how I found mine. I seen what worked for me, what didn't work for me. And I just kind of stuck with it. Like I saw that like a lot of the weekly options, that wasn't really my
Mhm.
style. That wasn't really my risk tolerance. So I think I really had to identify like what my risk
Mhm.
tolerance was, what companies I could trade, what companies that I wasn't so good at trading. And I think I just focused on my strengths really, to be honest. And that's really what I
Mhm.
did.
So you would call yourself more of a swing trader?
I would say I'm all
Mhm.
around. Like I
You
do
s-
everything. I day trade, I swing trade, long term invest. Like I do
So how
everything.
did
So I would say,
what do you look for when you enter a trade? Like, is it breaking a resistance level or a
hmm
support level? Is it like a breakout trade or is it a pattern trade?
yeah. So I would say that I look for breakouts and
Mhm.
patterns. Those are like my two things, and I look for reversals, price reversals. I strictly trade price. I use a couple
Mhm.
indicators like
Yeah,
EMAs
like
and
EMA.
a MACD, but that's about it.
Mhm.
I don't really use too many indicators, so I'm really looking for a break over resistance, break under
Mhm.
support, or a reversal pattern.
What's your
Yep. So I might
what's
be
your
looking
favorite pattern?
falling wedges and double bottoms.
Mm, mm. It's so hard for me to like trade patterns because I can't see them. Like I look at at a chart and I just can't see like a bull flag.
Oh yeah, both. Yeah, it'd be easy for me to see them. I could see them nakedly without them even being
Uh huh.
charted. But I think that honestly just comes with just the time. You
Mhm.
feel me? It wasn't always like
Mhm.
that. You
Just
feel me?
studying charts
But
constantly.
just looking at the same thing for years. I
Mhm.
mean, it's kind of hard not to see stuff after a while. You know what I mean? Just off the naked eye. And sometimes I be having to remember that when I'm teaching, because sometimes I be like, "Oh, this is this," but it's like from a new person perspective, like you said, like they may not see it like how I see it, and I'm only seeing it like that because I've been seeing this stuff for
Mhm.
years. You feel me?
Mhm.
So
It just takes time.
that's why I say repetition. Repetition is key. Like
Mhm.
repetition.
I believe that too because the
hmm
longer I've been in the market, I've been trading for at this point almost 2 years. So I'm still like a newbie in it.
hmm
So I've tried so many different strategies and the chart the pattern strategy wasn't really working for me and then like I tried other kind of strategies and they didn't really work for me and so I found for me supply and demand.
hmm
I love that
hmm
strategy. So when I can see a supply or demand zone on a chart and I know where to chart it, how to chart it, and that's how I trade off mines. But it's been a long road coming and I've been wanting to quit many times, but I finally now I got my stride and it really took me
hmm
to dive deep into my trading psychology. That was my biggest hurdle
Mm,
because I just
mhm,
didn't have the mental fortitude to stay in a
mhm,
trade when the trade is still going my way, but it might go down a few ticks and I want to get out. It was really hard for me. So
mhm.
how did you develop your own trading psychology? Like how do you check yourself when you see your emotions kind of creeping in when you're entering a trade?
Yeah, I would say honestly, just identifying my risks and
Risk.
taking some of the emotion out
Mhm.
of it. Like, yeah, like really identifying my risks, like classifying, like, oh, boom, this is my risk for day trades, my risk for swing trades. Like, that's what I would say, honestly, is like classifying my risk,
Mhm.
honestly, made things a lot
Mhm.
easier for me, to be honest.
So risk management is like
Yeah.
number 1 in terms of how it helps you check your emotion.
Yeah. Like my number one rule is like, yo, protecting the bag. Like
Right.
Like protect the bag over even making the cash. Like, because honestly, if you're protecting the bag, if you're like you're gonna make money. You
Mm-hmm.
get what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm. Did you have a
mhm.
mentor, someone that helped you, who helped guide you into your trading, or really it was just you were self-taught? You read books, you watched videos, trial and error.
Yeah, I would say I was self-taught. I read books,
Mm-hmm.
watched videos. Like honestly, there was no teachers in the space.
Mm-hmm. Just a
Like
few years ago,
when I
yeah.
first came into the markets, you feel
Yeah.
me? You feel me? It wasn't nobody online saying I'm teaching the stock market. For the most, at least from what I saw, you feel me? Like it was people with YouTube videos, but they didn't have courses or
Mm-hmm.
programs. Nor honestly, to be honest, I wasn't even looking at that. I was like, yo, I can learn
Mm-hmm.
this, and I was like up for the
Mm-hmm.
task. So yeah, it was really just through trial and error. So whenever I'm teaching people, I'm like, yo, I did this, so don't
Mm-hmm.
do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm giving you game that I didn't have. I didn't have no one in my corner telling me, hey, don't do this. This is wrong. I had to probably lose a little bit of money from it or learn the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
So um, yeah, I'm pretty much I would say self-taught and through my experiences, every trade, every experience that I had has taught me
Mm-hmm.
something. So I never stop. You never stop
Mm-hmm.
learning. And that's what I think I love most about this game is you honestly never stop
What
learning.
did you what do you think about mentorship in this space? Like
hmm
offering one-on-one
Um,
sessions, because that's something that I really want to see more of in terms of mentorship programs, because
hmm
having a course is one thing, but being able to sit with someone one-on-one, have them ask you questions, you answer them like a tutor almost. I feel
hmm
like that helps tailor
Yeah,
to an individual.
yeah, that's kind of what I'm with. Like for me, like, my course is not really just a course. Like I have my modules and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, that's to get
The
people,
basis, yeah.
started who don't know anything. But, I do a lot of live classes. Like I do like 3 to 5 classes a week,
Wow.
where I'm on Zoom for like an
Mm-hmm.
hour or two, each time I do live trading. So I mix it up. I do evening classes, I do live market
Mm-hmm.
watching trading. So I try to give people everything, you know what I'm saying? Like the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing. I even had a mastermind where I showed people like, yo, this is what I'm doing in the
Mm-hmm.
morning, what I'm reading, what I'm watching, how I get
Mm-hmm.
set up, like from A to Z. So like I feel like that's what's, not just videos and know these answers to a question, but like the one-on-one piece, I do one-on-ones with people as well too, and I always enjoy them. And I like when people come with their questions and stuff, and we can, share screens or, I do some of them in person if they're here, in
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta. So I think the one-on-ones are good in
Mm-hmm.
my opinion. Um, and I think just the liveness of the journey is like key because I don't think this is something that anyone can learn by just being book smart.
Yeah.
Like you gotta, in my opinion, you gotta be street smart when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
the market. That's
Got to
just
be
my opinion.
adaptable.
So you only can be street smart in the market by being experienced and by experiencing things. And I think the one on ones, the hands on, like I would say, like when I did my mastermind, I see the difference of my students who came to the
Mm-hmm.
mastermind. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a different vibe, a different feel. So like I'm big when it comes to like doing things in
Mm-hmm.
person and live, like
Yeah.
showing people whatever, you get what I'm saying, walking them through using their account, whatever it
Mm-hmm.
might be. That's what I think, can help and make a
Yeah.
difference,
I
the
see you
most,
do a lot of
you know.
workshops where you go to different cities and you try to teach different people. You were
hmm
in Tampa recently. I live in Tampa. I should have
Oh, that's
popped
crazy.
up.
Yeah, yeah, that's where I'm at. Yeah, yeah, I didn't even know. Yeah, you
I
could have
sh-
popped up. Yeah, that's where my
I think
mastermind was.
because I had an exam for my graduate school classes that week, and I was like, no, I can't. I'm not gonna go. But I remember seeing you there. So my next question is, how do you
hmm
entice people to start learning about the stock market? Because every time I try to talk to people about the stock market, they're like, no, or it's like it's boring. Like, how do you get people to want to invest? Because it's important. They need to. What's your strategy?
Yeah, I think honestly, I don't really think it's a strategy for me. I think it kind of just happens subtly. I think people ask the question like, why, how don't you work? Or like, what do you do? Or like people be saying like that I be, even the traveling piece, like going city to city, like, yo, you don't really have no obligation. It's like, yo, I don't answer to no one. You feel me? Like I only answer to
Mm-hmm.
me. And I think that's the number one way to entice people to do it. Is
Show
like,
them the
yo,
lifestyle.
you
Yeah.
can do this. It's not even about like the money for me. It comes to like freedom is more important. You feel me? The money is gonna come with the impact, you feel me? But it's the freedom, the ability to be like, yo, if I wanted to hop on a flight to Miami tomorrow, I
Mm-hmm.
could. I can go anywhere in the world that I want to go at any
Mm-hmm.
point in time. Boom, I could take this laptop with me, be able to trade and
Mm-hmm.
make money. Take my iPad, my iPhones with me. Boom. I could literally, just to having that freedom or autonomy to be like, yo, you could travel from Atlanta to go to LA and you could make a couple $1,000s trading and you ain't tripping, you ain't sweating, you ain't worried about your bills not being paid, you ain't worried
Mm-hmm.
about nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because you took care of you was a good steward of your money. And then also as well, like what I would say should entice people in the thing. It's like, yo, do you want to be? And this ain't to talk down on nobody, but do you want to be 60 or 70 years old working at Walmart after you retire from your career for 30 or 20 years? It don't really make sense. And we got to start thinking like, yo, as a culture, we got bad habits. We consume way too much garbage. And it's like, yo, I'm 22 years old. I look at it this way, like, if I just continue to do what I'm doing right now, like, by the time I'm like 50, 60 years old, like, it's going to
You
be
chilling on the
like
beach. Yeah.
nothing. You
Yeah, I
feel what
mean, you
I'm
doing that
saying? Like,
now
I'm
though.
not, like, I'm doing that now, exactly, but doing that times 10, where it's like, yo, I'm just sitting back. I think so many times we spend the upfront part of our lives like slaving. Like for me, I ain't gonna lie.
Me
I
right
think
now.
me personally, I just feel like I'm not knocking a job at all because I actually like people to
Mm-hmm.
have jobs because I believe a job can fund your
Mm-hmm.
future. I think people should keep a job a minimum of five
Mm-hmm.
years, 10 max, in
Mm-hmm.
my opinion. Because the boom, you've gotten paid salaries, you've gotten your
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Now after those 5 to 10 years, yo, move
Mm-hmm.
on. Why be there 30 years, 40 years? You feel me? So what I'm saying is, someone graduate college at 22, they get a job, and boom, by 35, they should have had them 13 years to build up their equity. Boom, now they can retire. This is just an example, but it's like, no, now at 35, they're able to make the moves that they want
Mm-hmm.
to make. You know what I'm saying? It's like everybody had their own time. Some people, going to be, is going to do well a little bit earlier. Everybody had their own time, stories, how they came
Mm-hmm.
up, whatever. But I just think we be just playing the wrong game where it's like, yo, you look at all the wealthiest people in the world, none of them, none of them work and are being paid
They don't go to
salaries. You
work
feel
every
me?
day. They don't like
There's,
go into an office and
they don't
and,
go,
and sit there for 8 hours, 10 hours and work. They might do that for a certain.
their money works
Mm-hmm.
for them. And their ideas work for them. Their ideas,
Mm-hmm.
their companies. You feel me? So it's like that's the way I look at it. It's like that's how I look at it. It's like my money needs to always work for
Yeah.
me. Like that's the only way to really be wealthy. Like, and we see
Mm-hmm.
that. Like that's the only way. Like we don't know anyone who's wealthy off of working a job for 40
Nobody.
years. Like those people
Mm-hmm.
don't exist. You feel me? So that's what I'm saying. Is like I realized that at a young age, and I just say, "Yo, I'm gonna go with this." So that, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion, is how like our culture should be incentivized because we all, especially in our culture, we all want these nice things X,
Mm-hmm.
Y, Z. But I think as us as a culture, we always want stuff on the front end. We never take stuff on the
Mm-hmm.
back end. And what I mean by that is, yo, we'll go out there and get a $60,000 car and we'll only be making $50,000 a year. That's
Mm-hmm.
backwards. Instead of waiting until you made $1 million or whatever, and then you go get that $60,000
Mm-hmm.
car. That's the kind of way I look at it when it comes to finances
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. And I just think that we just got to be
Mm-hmm.
smarter and we just gotta invest. Like the more we invest, the more money that we'll have to, look good or whatever we want to do. So that's just the way I look
Do
at
you think it's the school system's fault why people don't think like this, or is it the parents' fault why most
it.
people don't have this mentality?
I personally think it's a combination of I won't even say parents because let me say this. Here in Atlanta, I grew up in a county that, most households had two
Mm-hmm.
parents. Most households were 300, $400,000 houses, good quality. You know what I'm saying? They instill good values in their
Mm-hmm.
kids, but their kids listen to garbage music. Their kids watch too much social media, watch too
Mm-hmm.
much YouTube, and get a false
Mm-hmm.
perception of life. So I actually think that a lot of parents actually have done a
Mm-hmm.
great job, but parents can only do but
Mm-hmm.
so much. At the end of the day, their children make their own decisions. So I don't fault parents at all. I do I don't even fault school systems either. The reason why I say that is because school systems were never designed to teach anything outside of being an
Mm-hmm.
employee. It wouldn't make sense as a school to have a school system that's not teaching people how to be an employee. And the reason why I say that is I always look at things from both sides. The government's job is to what? Make sure that there's more employees to pay
Mm-hmm.
taxes. Their job is not to, the government's job is not to give you free school to learn how to be an entrepreneur.
Yep.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Is it right? No, but it's just we gotta
Mm-hmm.
look at it from
Mm-hmm.
both ways. It's like, yo, how does the government make money? They make money from
Mm-hmm.
taxes. So, yo, we need people to go be,
Mm-hmm.
workers. We don't need people. If people want to be entrepreneurs, they got to do that
Mm-hmm.
on their own. So, that's the way I look at it. Is like I don't blame. I believe every person has a
Right.
choice. Can people be
Yeah.
influenced? Yeah. Yes. People can be influenced by
Mm-hmm.
various things. But at the end of the day, everyone has that choice. At the end of the day, everyone has that choice that people choose what they
Mm-hmm.
want to do. So,
Social media definitely is a double-edged sword in terms of you can be influenced. You
hmm
can be influenced by bad things, but you can also be influenced by good things. And
hmm
your course, everything about you is influencing people in a good way. If someone's listening to this podcast and they want to know
hmm
how do they before they decide to buy your course to learn investing, where should they start? What books would you recommend for them?
Yeah. I would say Charting and Technical Analysis by Fred
Mm-hmm.
McAllen is one. Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas is
Mm,
another one.
my favorite book.
Those are two books. Those are two books that I would tell people to like go ahead and grab and read. Those are two books that I think are like very fundamental for people.
Mm, I like those books. I haven't read the first one, Charting and Technical Analysis. That's what it's called.
Yeah, by Fred McAllen.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good book.
Okay. And which do you say you like more? Do you like trading more or do you like investing more?
I like investing more. I believe you can make more money investing long term. I do love trading though, but what I would say is I love to use trading to be able to fund my long term portfolio. So that's how I feel. Like trading is really good to be able to fund your long term portfolio to be able to make more money. So like, but I love long term investing. I love buying a
Mm-hmm.
quality company cheap and just seeing it go crazy. Like I
How do
love it.
you allocate
Yeah.
your investment portfolio? Like, what do you invest in? Do you invest in index funds most of the time, or growth stocks, tech stocks?
Um, Honestly, it's pretty
Mm-hmm.
diverse. Like I invest in
Mm-hmm.
industrials. Like the biggest holding in my portfolio is Boeing. That's an
Mm-hmm.
industrial. I do have tech stocks, a lot of and I do have ETFs as well too. So I'm pretty mixed. I got crypto,
Oh, crypto.
ETFs, tech stocks, industrials. So I got a mix, I
So
would
I
say,
have a
a mixed
question.
portfolio.
If you had to pick between
Hmm
stocks and crypto, let's say you can only choose one to invest in for the rest of your life, which one would you choose?
hmm
Why is that?
Stocks. Because stocks have revenues, they have profits, they have a lot more for me to fundamentally base
Mm,
them off of. A lot of crypto is really a lot of technicals and a lot of pumping and dumping,
mm-hmm.
to be honest.
And speculative too.
Um, I do like the systems in crypto and the speculativeness of it. But I think if I had one choice, like if I could only invest in one, I would
Yeah.
do stocks.
If it ain't broke, don't fix
I
it.
think crypto is definitely going to continue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you feel me? I think you have way more history of stocks, you
Mm-hmm.
feel me too. So why wouldn't I? I'm getting dividends. You feel me? I'm saying like with crypto, you do have those similar opportunities with
Mm-hmm.
staking and but in some of the decentralized networks, but that still is kind of being kinked
Mm-hmm.
out right now. So I just think it's an unfair
Yeah.
comparison. There really is no comparison with crypto. You get so I mean, just from a consistency standpoint, like I said, I still believe in crypto
Mm-hmm.
long term. But I would just say I would prefer, like, I just feel like there's more with stocks and the
Yeah.
stock markets. So that's why I would go with it if I only could choose one.
What do you think the future of crypto looks like?
Um, I think the future of crypto really looks good. I think they're going to come in and clean up a lot of the BS though, with a lot of the BS coins and um in my opinion, I see like crypto's changing the world. It's changing the world right
Yeah.
now. Like we're already in a cashless society,
Mm-hmm.
but crypto is going to just blockchain in general is going to make our payment systems faster, more secure. I think there's an opportunity to explore with this technology over the next 10 to 15 years that you'll definitely even see more as we introduce smart cities. Smart cities have already been introduced
Mm-hmm.
in China. Bill Gates is actually building a smart city in
Really?
Arizona. Blockchain technology will really run
So
these
what
smart
is
cities.
this?
So I
I
think
haven't heard this term before, smart city. What does that entail?
so it runs off of like AI technology and blockchain technology, which is what crypto is
Mm-hmm.
based upon. And like, so you know how Tesla's like literally what you see in the movies and
Mm-hmm.
everything. You know how they got cars that's just driving and
Mm-hmm.
picking up people, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? These cartoons and shows and movies was not just made for
Mm-hmm.
no reason. Even if you take a look back in time and you pay attention to, the movies that came out that talked about viruses and happening in not just 2020, but like 2030, 2040, or you seen people, these are the years where people were actually in space in 2030, like 2020, 2030, 2040, and all those different movies or TV shows. So these writers, they predict things, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I would say. Like a smart city is like including the different technology, the solar technology, the AI technology, just everything automated and just running based upon systems,
Mm-hmm.
you feel me? Like JP Morgan Chase is removed the teller, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So a lot of people won't be having jobs back.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been telling people that, you know what I'm saying? There is a huge labor crisis going on right now. But that won't be solved because a lot of people lost their job to AI
Mm-hmm.
technology. You feel me? And they're giving people, little scraps of
Mm-hmm.
things. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I definitely believe crypto is the future. I want to know how they're gonna tax it. One, when they're going to start. When is the government going to start trying to interfere with it somehow? Which I don't think they can because blockchain technology is so decentralized. But I want to see how the government combats crypto, and I want to see how
Mm-hmm.
banks, because like crypto and banks don't really go together. Like they're on opposite
Yeah, so they're
sides.
gonna come out with their own. They're gonna come out. Well, some banks worldwide have already come out with their central digital bank
Mm-hmm.
currencies. You're gonna see a lot
Mm-hmm.
more of that. It's still definitely something new and it's still very interesting. That's going to be one thing is like they start coming out with their own central bank digital currencies. It's going to be really interesting to see. It's still like such
Mm-hmm.
a new space. So, a lot of times when people ask me, what do I think's going to happen? It's like I try not to like always just try to be like, oh, this is going to happen or
Mm-hmm.
predict everything, especially with a new
Mm-hmm.
space because I feel like it can go so many different directions. The only thing that I would say that I'm really confident is that's like, yo, crypto ain't
Yeah.
going nowhere. I'm definitely confident in that. You know what I'm saying? Because there was a lot of people that's like, oh, Bitcoin's going to zero. It's all kinds of
Mm-hmm.
crazy stuff where it's just like, this is not going to zero. You know what I'm saying? These analysts at JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, they got their money in this crypto too. Don't be fooled. And you see a company's been able to add it to its balance sheet, like Tesla, like Square, and
Mm-hmm.
MicroStrategy buying
Mm-hmm.
all of these, Bitcoins and XYZ. So for me, I would just say, like right now, I think there's still an opportunity for crypto. I personally think that there might be a bubble that gets popped, just like kind of what we saw with the dot com
Mm-hmm.
bubble, where it's just like where you have new technology where it's like
Mm-hmm.
disruptive. Like cryptocurrency is a
Yeah.
disruptive technology. So sometimes it could be volatile, just like how the tech stocks were. Like people always talk about, you know, certain companies now, but a lot of people was not talking about these companies the same way in
Mm-hmm.
2005, So, yeah, that's just the way I look
I'm
at
gonna
it.
I'm gonna say a hot take. I'm gonna say a hot take. I think crypto is gonna do to banks what Netflix did to Blockbuster. I really do. Like
Hmm.
maybe not in our lifetime, but like when me and you are like in our 60s and 70s, so like 40 years from now, I think banks are gonna be obsolete. Because what's the point? What's the point of having cash? Number one, the U.S. dollar, when it's built to um, get less in value over time, while as crypto, it's
Hmm.
literally, well, not all of them, but the good cryptos are designed to appreciate over time. They're literally designed like that. I'm telling you, I'm telling
Design,
you when
exactly.
we're retirement age, and what is retirement age, but when we're in our
Hmm.
60s, I think banks are going to be like a novelty. Like, oh my god, you went to the bank and got cash? Wow, you're so vintage.
Yeah, that's going. I mean, even now it's like exactly like I can agree with that. It's gonna
Mhm.
be rough. Um, I don't think like Goldman Sachs or J.P. Morgan and banks will
Mhm.
disappear, but they're not gonna be the same. It won't be people working at them. I
Mhm.
can say that. There won't be branch locations. Everything will be digital. We're going digital. Like I just tell people to like pay attention. Like this stuff is happening. Like people are already going to space now, like regularly. We about to start commercial flights to space. You think they ain't gonna send people up there on a spaceship full time? You feel me? Like you think they ain't developing this stuff? They don't just make this stuff in movies. Like I know a lot of people say stuff in the movies is fiction.
It's
I just
real.
say, all right, it's fiction to some degree. You feel me? It's fiction to some degree. Of course, there's made up things and stuff like that, but the concept is
Mhm.
not fiction. You feel
Space
me?
is gonna be like
So people got to
space is gonna be like Mexico. Like, oh, we're going to Mexico for homecoming. We're going to space for homecoming. That's how it's gonna be.
exactly. We're going to yeah, we're going to space regularly, casually. Oh yeah, we're going to space
Let's
today.
go.
And that's the way they've made it. That's why they've invested all this money into figuring out how to get people there,
There and back. Yeah. Mhm.
efficiently there and back
Mhm.
efficiently. So yep.
So when you are with your friends or when you're with, visiting aunties and uncles, do you talk to them about
Hmm.
investing in the stock market, or do they understand, or do they don't want anything to do with it?
I would say when I was probably younger, I used to probably try to talk more to people about getting involved, but I don't really do that. If you want to come learn this and get this
Mhm.
work, you'll hit me up. I don't go DMing people or calling people saying you need to
Mhm.
get on this. You know what I'm saying? I let people come to me and ask me questions, and get involved. That's just kind of from how I do
And why
things.
is that?
I ain't really going around. I just feel like I probably wasted a lot of my time when I was younger trying to get people involved. So for me, I'm real protective of
Mm.
my energy. If someone show me, yo, we trying to do this, then boom, I'll show them. I'll give them the game. I'll do the one-on-ones or whatever. But yeah, I don't really talk about the market around my family or some of my friends for the
Hmm.
most part. But yeah,
I can agree with that. You can't make somebody do anything. They have to want to do it for themselves.
yep.
So, what do you think keeps ordinary people, like, they see you have you're doing well in life. You have that time freedom, like you said earlier. You can go and do whatever you want, and you don't have to answer to anybody. What do you think keeps
Hmm.
ordinary people from
Yeah.
wanting to do that? What keeps them?
I would just say fear. Most people don't want to bet
Mm,
on themselves. You see, me, I bet on myself
mm-hmm,
every day of the week. And if I take a
mm-hmm.
L, I take a L. I can live with that. Most people do not want to bet on themselves. They would rather just settle and sell out, in my opinion. I want people to bet on themselves. Most people don't even have enough belief in themselves to bet on themselves. So they sell out and they
Why
settle.
is that? Like, I
So
sit
that's
and
what I
I
would say.
think, like, why?
Because that's the way we kind of been
Mm-hmm.
brainwashed, to be honest. To say, yo, go and get a job and work for 30, 40 years for security,
It's
quote unquote
safe.
security. You feel me? Yeah, it's safe. It's safe. But what happens is at the end of that 40 years, you see, man, I've been
Mm-hmm.
scammed. And so many of our people been scammed for 40 years of their
Mm-hmm.
life. And then they get to the end of the road and like, yo, this wasn't
Mm-hmm.
even worth it. Like I could have been betting on myself
Mm-hmm.
for 40 years and been in a way better
Mm-hmm.
position. And like I said, you see the biggest people, wealthiest people in the world, they all bet on themselves and they
They all
bet big.
do. Yeah, you just got to
So
believe in yourself. I
yeah,
think most people just have either low self-esteem. They just, you're right, they've been taught to be a worker all their life. So investing is something that only one rich people do, or they feel like the only thing that they need to invest in is their 401k, which is taken out of their paycheck every two
yep,
weeks. So that's not even really real investing on your own. But we're changing that. We're changing that.
yep, yeah. We're changing that
Yeah.
little by little. Yep.
So, where do you see yourself in your trading in 5 years? Like, do you have goals for your account? Like, I want to grow my account to 50,000, then 100,000, then 200,000, and 250. And do you have
Yeah,
those sort of
yeah.
goals, or what are your goals?
Yeah. I would say my goals is not even really just about the money. I would say for me, like in the next 5 years, I would like to have um at minimum at minimum I would probably say like an eight
Mm,
figure account, nine figure, eight or
mm-hmm.
nine figure account. Um, I would say that would be one. But honestly, just impacting more lives. Like I want to teach hundreds of thousands of people over the next
Mm-hmm.
5 years. I won't even say I want to. I will be teaching,
Absolutely.
hundreds of thousands of people. Um, I would say also starting NBC, Panthers News and Business.
Yes.
That's one of the things that I do want to start. Um, and yeah, just writing some books. I got some books that I'll be writing and putting out. That'll be one. Traveling, honestly, I want to do like a nice world tour and then just travel on my world tour.
Yes.
So, go to, every continent that I can. And that would be, go to some countries and, you know, eat some good, food from other cultures. These are kind of just goals for me. And all this, comes from, stemming from being an investor and trader. So, yeah, that's kind of my
Okay,
thoughts.
Lawrence, I want to thank you so much for coming on the Black Girl Option podcast. And before you go, tell us a little bit about your company.
Yeah, so my company, Black Wall Street Originals, was founded in 2018. I came up with the name Black Wall Street Originals because I believe Black people are the original people of this earth. And that's kind of where I came with the originals piece. I started in my
Mm-hmm.
dorm room. I was teaching, once a week on
Wow.
Sundays. Started off with just 6 people, and then it grew to, 40 people
Mm-hmm.
pretty quickly. And so, yeah, my company's taught over 500 people over the past few years how to trade and invest. I'm the CEO of my company. I've been managing, my company. And so, yeah, that's just a little bit about,
And where
my
do they
company.
find you at?
Yeah, so you can follow my company on Instagram. The Instagram is Black Wall Street Originals. And then you can follow me as well at Mr. Lawrence.e. So MRLAWRENCE and my website is bwsoacademy.com. So yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Now I appreciate you for having me, Kayla. Thank you.
Okay. All right, everyone, that's a wrap for this episode of the BlackGirlOption podcast. I hope you gained some insight and learned something new. Don't forget that episodes drop every first and third Monday of each month. So please hit the follow button and follow me on Instagram at BlackGirlOption. See you all on the next episode.